You know what? He's an elite defender, has unbelievable feet, work ethic in practice, competitive level that's through the roof. On a team that really needs defensive help, I think he's really going to help us.
He's a little shy to talk about his own game and what style he brings. And then I was looking at offensive numbers. Can you bring a little more offense than maybe Toronto?
Well, yeah, for sure. In defense of him, he had the most defensive starts on the Toronto Maple Leafs. My doing. I'm running the back end there. In saying that, we had Morgan Riley, and we had some real offensive guys that that we put on in those offensive situations. And for us to win, we needed him to keep the puck out more than we needed the offense. His first year he had a lot more points. He was on the power play. He'll have a lot more opportunity here. To get some offensive starts and to do some more things with the puck. His role there was a little more defensive. We're going to expect that, but he's learned the league now, and I expect that he can get a little more offense for sure.
You obviously had to have a conversation with him to kind of, convince him, so to speak, to come here. What was that conversation like to get him to waive his no trade?
Well, it didn't take very much, to be honest. He's a guy that I know very well. I know that his teammates really loved him there, and I know how hard he plays and how good he is in the locker room. So I'm looking for people to change the culture here and up the work ethic. It was easy for me, and I just explained to him how much I needed him and we needed him here in Ottawa to help us with that, and he was sold right away.
Do you anticipate how he fits in terms of, have you thought about your pairings? Have you written them down and thought about how your top 4, top 6 might look?
Well, certainly he's in the top 4. It's just a matter of is he going to play with Shabbat, or is he going to play in the second pair, or back and forth, depending if we're on the road or not. So everyone's going to get an opportunity at some point to play with everyone. You're at home and you have your matchup, or if you're on the road and you're looking to defend a certain pairing. So certainly he's our number 1 shutdown right side D. Starting the year off, but he'll play in all different pairs.
He was looking for out of Toronto. Did he strike you as the type of guy who needed a fresh start?
You know what? Sometimes things happen that people don't understand, and in their own lives that just happen. And I think a fresh start for him was needed, and I think Ottawa's the perfect spot for him. So I'm not going to speak for him. I just know that he was really pleasant to come to the rink every day. He worked, and he's a true professional, and he'll help the Ottawa Senators.
Can he be a leader on this team?
Absolutely. He's you guys just heard him talk. He's not some of the best leaders in the world aren't the people that are saying things. They're leading by example every day, and he's a guy that goes to work. He's going to be hard to play against, and he's going to instill tough hockey on the back end here. He's going to cross-check. He's going to keep you away from the net, and people are going to fall in love with his game sooner and later.
This might be a good problem to have, but do you have too many defensemen? I know.
Can never have too many, especially you can never have too many good ones. It's hard to develop young defensemen. It always seems that, you think people are ready. It takes time to be a defenseman in the National Hockey League. It's certainly easier to develop as a winger than it is a defenseman or center. And you need some older guys to help you with that. And not that he's an older guy now, but him and Ronnie and DeMello and Boro are going to help these kids transition, over time, and then so that at some point the young kids become the ones teaching. But no, you can't have enough. I mean, you don't want to lose guys on waivers and things like that. But we're going to make it at least competitive back there to play defense for the Ottawa Senators.
You talk about veteran, and we haven't talked to you since Hainsey. What was his value, or what do you see purpose of bringing him in here?
Well, it's I watched him with Morgan Riley and Jake Gardner and Dermott on a day-to-day basis. Coaches can do so much video and say so many things. One word from a player is probably worth 10 times what the coach says. So Ronnie's been there. Ronnie's been the offensive guy that ran around in his own zone to now being one of the smarter hockey minds on the back end in the National Hockey League, in my opinion. He's played over 1,000 games back there. He gets how the position is, and when you got a team full of young defensemen that need to learn how to play, who better than a guy that's played all those positions? So Ronnie chose us over some other teams, and I had the opportunity to watch him do it on a day-to-day basis last 2 years there in Toronto, and I really couldn't think of one guy better for these young defensemen than him.
You have 4 Leaf guys here with you. Is there a comfort factor in just having these guys around that you know and trust, or at least understand how they are going to play?
Well, the one thing I know about them is that they're great guys, and they're going to work, and they're going to help change the culture here. Whether I know them or not, the biggest thing, I like them. Pierre went to the pro scouts, and all the pro scouts liked everything about their game. So once that checked off, and certainly a comfortable factor is great, but they're going to help us, push and get to the next level. And I know what these guys can bring on a day-to-day basis. I mean, these guys were key core guys on a Leaf team that, are now here.
We didn't get a chance to ask you yet about the last 2 additions to your staff. Just be up for a thought on the 2 guys you hired last week.
Davis Payne, first off, has been in the league a long time, won a Stanley Cup with LA, was in Buffalo, ran the power play there. After interviewing a lot of great candidates, I thought that he was the best, most knowledgeable on the power play and adjustments and things like that. And he's a former head coach in the National Hockey League, so that was a tough one for me to turn down. Lastly, Bob Jones, who coached with me in Windsor for 7 years, coached over 20 years in the Ontario Hockey League, coached in Texas last year in the American Hockey League. He's a guy, his strength is communication with players, and he's probably was ahead of his time. He's going to make it fun to come to the rink every day. Guys will like him, and that's a big thing. I mean, you got to have fun what you're doing, and he's going to help with that.
Will he be on the bench or upstairs?
No, he's going to be the eye in the sky. He'll help with the pre-scouts. He'll help with all the things that we need help with. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be done in the National Hockey League today to be prepared, and he's going to help with everything there.
But between Payne and Capuano on each side of you during games, you won't like experience.
No, and the big thing is I'll just be able to do my job, and I trust them to do theirs, and that's why I hired them. They're the 2 best at what they do, in my opinion. That was available to me, and Jack can run the penalty kill in the defense, and Davis can run the power play, and then I can do what I have to do is run the 5-on-5 and watch our team game and make sure I'm pushing the guys. So I don't have to worry about that. These are seasoned veterans.